everything you need to know about products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on CISL 650.
Broke into the old apartment. This is where we used to live.
And welcome back to the show. That's a perfect segue into Strata.Life on CISL 650. Director of Strata Services from Quay Pacific Property Management is my co-amigo every time, Drew Grout. Welcome back again.
Yeah, good to be back.
All right. And also joining us here from Waste Management is Alex Lee-Mangelli and Cameron Carter from Normac Insurance Appraisals and Depreciation Reports. Now, Alex, back to you. We've got a few outstanding questions we didn't get to. What are the new multifamily recycling issues around glass separation?
Right. As you know, the recycling programs in Vancouver are now shifted over to the stewards, which is Multi Materials BC, and the producers of packaging are now paying for the recycling material to be processed. As part of that program, glass separation is mandated. So you used to be able to put your glass in your mixed container bin or into your blue box,
bin, yeah, mm-hmm.
And now you have to separate that
into
glass.
The gray bin.
That's right. In single family, you would have received a gray bin. In multifamily, you would have received a designated glass bin. So
you know what's interesting? Just as a side,
we don't have that.
Aside,
in Vancouver, there's a section of Vancouver that the program just rolled in October, and so they're still getting carts delivered and new education. You'll see in your garbage rooms, you'll see lots of information from Waste Management on the glass diversion. It's really not a lot.
Well, that's what I was going to say is because I have my regular garbage, I have my paper and cardboards and everything that I put into one area. Then I have my green waste that goes out every day. And then the glass, I put that out every month, maybe. Yep. And the only time it really gets filled up is when I have a dinner party and it's full of wine bottles. Exactly. Other than that, there's really little glass anymore.
That's right. And you know what?
Like a jar of pickles or something, that's about it.
You know, a lot of people are actually buying smarter too. I mean, you're going now to stores and, the ketchup bottles are now in plastic, which is much better for recycling purposes, of course.
Is it?
Yeah.
Glass is hard to do and plastic is easier?
Well, glass, I think there's a lot more markets in plastics than there is in glass, and glass is used for like road fill and different types of other products, but it's just when you commingle glass with the plastics, a lot of times in these trucks it shatters and breaks. Mm-hmm. So you have shards of glass that get mixed with the plastics, and it just creates more problems for the processors. They've decided that it should be taken out, even though it's easier for residents to put it in the same bin. There's really not that much of it.
Well, the thing is, I put that out probably once a month, if that. Yeah. And like I said, it's really when the wine starts to flow that it fills up.
Dinner party.
The next one, how can multifamily buildings manage large item waste? And we talked a little bit about the spring cleaning program.
Yeah, the spring cleaning program. You can contact your account manager at Waste Management or call Waste Management. We can have a temporary bin delivered to you. We'll come on site. We'll show you where to put it. We'll put some signage around the building. We'll hand out some flyers for each strata unit to say, here's the things that are accepted. Just come on down this weekend and throw all your stuff away, and we take it away in one. And it prevents you from having it.
I guarantee that there's so many people that have stuff that has got to go out. I've just got to figure a way to get rid of it. Yeah. So if you put a big bin downstairs, they're like, oh, finally I can get rid of that old coffee table or whatever it is, right?
That's right. And we take it to a facility that separates the material and recycles what can be recycled. And as I mentioned, before we started, 25 to 30% of that probably will end up being garbage itself, but a lot of the stuff can be recycled. But it keeps it out of the general garbage that creates those fines that we get when we go to Metro Vancouver. So it's a great program to do.
If I could add, I think if Stratas get into the routine of doing that once or twice a year, people will hold it for that as opposed to doing what they shouldn't do. And that's where you see things in the fields, on the sides of the roads. And, it minimizes that because now they have
an avenue.
In the city of Surrey, we do these recycling events throughout the summer where on Saturdays the city pays for 30 bins to be laid out in an area, and they allow anybody to come in. You can bring mattresses, you can bring drywall, you can bring construction material. They take care of it because, of course, people will generally just take it and throw it on the side of the road. Not everybody's like that, but also not everybody has access to strap on not everybody has a pickup
car.
Truck.
Yeah,
you have to strap on a mattress to the top of your car. So
as somebody who owns a pickup truck, I don't own a pickup truck. Are you using a truck? truck? What are you talking about? I don't own a pickup truck.
Yeah.
It's only mine. I don't share it. All right, let's get into Cameron's line of work again about insurance appraisals and depreciation reports. So I'm guessing a lot of older stratas are hearing this and saying, okay, we've heard about this depreciation report. We've heard about getting insurance appraisals. That is mandated every 3 years, but it's just like this boogeyman that they're afraid to tackle. So as you said, buyers are now getting savvy. So what's your advice to somebody that's on the council of an older building and really doesn't want to, they kind of don't want to look into the abyss there? What's your advice?
I would say because of the market pressure on them to do so with potential purchasers, they're much better off to actually get it done. I think even if there is a bit of bad news in a report, the fact that you've actually taken steps to do it and start a financial plan for your building in a new purchaser's eyes is a good thing. Mm-hmm. So I would say to everybody, just go and get it done. It's going to become more and more common for stratas to do them.
And they can choose how to use the information. They don't have to fully fund it. They can pick and choose and get in the groove and start planning.
Exactly. It's a good point. We usually show them 3 options in the report. We do the do nothing option like they're currently doing. Yeah. We do the fully funded option, which is, throw a lot of money in to make sure everything's covered. And then the one in the middle is we ask them, now, what do you feel like you want to do?
And what's the worst scenario you've seen? Imminent failure of things?
Yes. Walked into a parking garage to take a look at a building, and you know that corrugated metal that you see sometimes on shacks?
Yes.
Well, the entire ceiling of the parking garage was lined.
Skinned with that?
Was skinned with this, suspended from the ceiling.
And
directed towards some drainage.
Oh, so the whole thing was leaking?
The whole thing was leaking. It was horrible.
Wow.
That was probably the worst thing I've seen.
And so what's the remedy for that? Rip the parkade apart and build it again?
You can probably, where you can get at it from the surface, you rip the surface soil and improvements off and you fix it from the top. That's the only real way to do it on something like that. There is a chance for that particular property that they might have to do a bit of a rebuild because it was quite bad. I
saw one of those older, it was quite a tall building. I guess it was maybe 15-story tall in Vancouver, so probably built in the 60s. And they had taken the whole beautiful grounds off, and you could see laid bare beneath the top of the parkade. So they were putting membranes down and sealing it all off. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, pay me now or pay me later. But I think the fear in some of those older buildings is that if you were to look at trying to put away the amount of money you needed to do all of the things, you would have to put away so much. It immobilizes them.
Yeah.
They do nothing.
It's the deer in the headlights. Right?
Yeah. So if they start realizing that they can do what they can do, then they start doing things. It's better to have $100,000 saved on $1 million project than not have $100,000 saved on $1 million project, because you're going to be doing a levy for more at the time. And that just, it's a vicious circle.
Now, this kind of dovetails in. This is one of our general questions that came in, and Drew, you can kind of answer this. Speaking of older buildings, our strata is 30 years old and has large repairs and maintenance budget each year. We recently had a big section of our fence fall down and requires replacement. Council chose to hire a contractor immediately, even though the cost will eat up 40% of the repairs and maintenance budget that we have for the year. How can the owner stop the repair because it's draining our budget? So something like a fence, yeah, it's important, but if it's going to take out a big chunk of your budget.
There's two things here. One is the Strata Council has the full authority to make those decisions. That's what they're elected for.
So they might say, we're not going to replace we'll just take it out.
Well, they don't have to go and ask. It's part of their maintenance stuff. And some people may see it as a security concern and make it that more important.
Especially if there's a pool involved or something like that.
Whatever. The other part of the question is, how could the owners control that? Well, you control that at an annual general meeting. If that was happening with any consistency, they can force a general meeting to give direction to the Strata Council through a majority vote. But they have to follow that process, and it's built into the Act to be able to do that. But it's not just at a whim. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you elect your council to do those things. So from year to year, if you don't like how they're doing things, don't re-elect them.
All right, Cameron, with With
Get
the
on council,
appraisals
yeah.
and the depreciation reports, somebody is listening to this and is an owner of an individual unit, what questions should you be asking at your next meeting?
For a strata council,
Yeah.
is that what you mean?
So somebody that has a unit in a building.
Well, if I was an owner in a building, I would be asking, do we have a current insurance appraisal? Has it been up to date? And second thing is, when's the last time we've done a depreciation report? So from our standpoint, it's just very important for stratas to think about these things. They're all planning tools, and the insurance appraisal is a risk aversion tool, really.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to save some money in the long run and have yourself covered, your risk covered, then get an insurance appraisal. So I would say getting information would be the most important thing for...
And asking the proper questions.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now, Alex, so with the waste management side, living in a multi-family unit, what should somebody who's listening to this be asking their council about their waste management? Are we doing, is it best practices, or what kinds of things should we ask for?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about, do you have enough education for the people that are living there?
And you must have literature that you can hand out, right?
Absolutely. Just call your account manager. We're happy to come on site. We're happy to do waste audits for you. We don't charge for that, especially if you're a waste management customer. What we want to do is we want to get you the right size bin, the right type of service, so that the garbage is flowing out of the building without any problems. And again, keep the focus on diverting from your garbage. Your garbage is your biggest expense. Your food waste is less than that because the disposal is much less. And the more you can recycle, the better it is. So, having these green councils, a lot of time you see even strata councils, but you'll see people on there that they have green committees that walk around and they want to do the right thing as well. So call your waste management representative, have them come in and make sure that you have the right services and tailor to your building so that you minimize the amount of waste that goes to landfill. That's always what we were going to recommend.
Well, I feel bad that I called it the dirty end of the business.
It is the dirty end, but it's a good story too.
Yeah. And what's the thing that eats up all the green waste again? What's it called?
They're anaerobic digesters. Like
an anaerobic digester. That's what I'm going to say to my wife. My anaerobic digester needs a nap
hungry.
on the sofa.
Kind of like probiotic.
Yeah.
All right, I learned something. I learn something every time I do the show. Drew Grout from Quay Pacific Property Management, thank you. Always
Thank
with
you.
me as my sort of co-host here. It's great to have you back. Alex Limongelli, great to have you here from Waste Management. Last time you couldn't make it, so I'm glad you're here this time. Cameron Carter is the president of Normac Insurance Appraisals and Depreciation Reports. How was your first time? Pretty good?
It was great. I loved it.
All right. That's Strata.Life. We're leaving on a high note. It was great. That's all the time we have for this week's show. I'm Zach Spencer. Speak to you next time on CL 650.